Hello and welcome to the lunch table with Nicholas and Eric. My name's Nicholas Foster,
I'm Eric Rodrigues.
and this is the first episode of the lunch table talk on the Monsignor Farrell Media Network. So we got a jam-packed show today. It's going to be a very short show, but there's a lot of things we need to talk about in this show. We're going to talk about the NBA, some LeBron James. We're also going to talk about a little bit about the Rangers and the Islanders and what's upcoming for them, and we're also going to get into the Super Bowl between the Chiefs and the Eagles. So starting with the NBA, LeBron James last night became the NBA all-time scorer. Eric, what do we think about this?
I mean, it's a great accomplishment for him. He's been in the league for a long time. Arguably one of the best players in the NBA, but still not my GOAT, in my opinion. It'll always belong to MJ. He will always be the greatest of all time.
No, I agree too. I think MJ will always be the greatest, and I think it comes down to the difference between being great and being the best. I certainly think that LeBron James is a very talented player, but in terms of greatness, for me, it's always going to be MJ. This is a great accomplishment for LeBron. He's had a lot of great accomplishments in his career. I mean, you see him, when the NBA posts on Instagram and they talk about it, the top 10 in every statistical category, you usually see LeBron James.
Yeah.
I mean, LeBron James is top 10 in every statistical category, and now he's number one all time in scoring. For me, what it comes down to is, though, it's 4 rings compared to 6. I mean, MJ three-peated 2 different times.
And you got to remember, the 2 years that he wasn't there, the Bulls didn't win anything. Like, they made it to the playoffs, but as soon as he came back, that's when they started winning the championships again.
Yeah, no, and that's a point to definitely be made. But also look at what happens to teams that LeBron James leaves.
Yes.
Once LeBron leaves the Cavs.
That is true.
Once LeBron leaves the Heat, and if LeBron leaves the Lakers. I mean, the Lakers are already pretty much nothing to me. But without LeBron, they're bottom team. They're already
100%.
a pretty much bottom team, but you're talking maybe worst team in the West.
I mean, yeah, they have a playoff spot right now, but without LeBron, I don't think they have that playoff spot they do.
No. So moving on to the NHL.
We have the Rangers and the Islanders. The Rangers play tonight against the Vancouver Canucks at 8:00. They are in third place in the Metropolitan Division. Nice little playoff spot they got there. And the New York Islanders played last night with a win. They have a 4-game win streak. They are battling with Pittsburgh and Washington for that wild card spot. And the Islanders are on a roll right now, 4 games. Rangers have a 2-game win streak. They'll try to make it 3 tonight. And that's all I got for the NHL, Nick. So what do you got?
Listen, so obviously we know Super Bowl coming up between the Chiefs and the Eagles this Sunday. But that just means we're even closer to spring training in the MLB.
Yes.
Spring training starts next week. Pitchers and catchers report. You're starting to see clips of these pitchers starting to work with their catchers. Max Scherzer starting to get working with Tomas Nido, and I think Michael Wacha was there too. Don't quote me on that. But, yeah, I mean, it's just great. It's, the Super Bowl is great, but it's one of the best times of the year when football is starting to end and the baseball feel starts. Yep. You feel it in the air, and especially when the pitchers and catchers are poured. And I'm hoping to maybe take a trip down to Port St. Lucie this spring, or eventually some spring. But I'm hoping that this spring I can get down there. It's going to be great. It's going to be a pivotal spring training for the Mets as well.
Yeah.
We're gonna see the development of a lot of guys like Francisco Alvarez, Ronnie Mauricio, Brett Beatty, Mark Vientos, and we saw Mark Vientos, Beatty, and Alvarez all in the bigs. Towards the end of the season, I didn't really agree with bringing up Alvarez. Beatty was a questionable one. So was Vientos. I think they just wanted to get those guys experience, but I think they brought them all in at the wrong time. I mean, you're throwing these guys. They threw them in the most pivotal point of the season.
Yeah.
Specifically Alvarez against the Braves.
Yeah, that was a hard choice to make. I mean, bring one of your top prospects in the biggest series of the season.
But they had all season to try and bring these guys in, especially Alvarez. I think they could have brought in middle of the season and tried to give him a chance, and I think they just gave him a chance at the wrong time. So we'll see what they can do in the spring. But before we get to the spring, mentioned it, the Super Bowl between the Chiefs and the Eagles. This game is going to be pivotal, in my opinion, for both the legacies of Mahomes and Hurts.
Absolutely.
Mahomes looking for that elusive second ring, and my dad has brought it up to me time and time again, and I've really reflected on it. After that first Super Bowl for Mahomes, like, oh yeah, this guy's great. He's going to win 7, 8 Super Bowls. He's the next Brady undoubtedly. The next year he gets to the big game. His team kind of lets him down. He loses. Then he misses the Super Bowl. But now he's back, and he's going to try to win it for the second time in his career. And for Jalen Hurts, I mean, people have doubted him. I've doubted him. I'm a Giants fan. I don't like the Eagles. But, a lot of people are going to give this guy respect if he wins a Super Bowl, especially seeing as the big debate with that team all year has been that they haven't played a real team. And the Chiefs are, the realest team in the NFL, in my opinion. So if Jalen Hurts wins this game, it means a lot for his legacy. If Mahomes wins this game, it means a lot for his legacy. But I'm telling you right now, after that Super Bowl, if the Eagles lose, we're going to be talking a lot about how fraudulent the Eagles were.
100%. I agree. And you brought up the statement that they haven't, a lot of people are saying they haven't really played a real team. And I mean, you look at their playoffs, they played the Giants, and I get you're a Giants fan. I don't want to, a shot in the heart, but the Giants weren't the strongest team in the playoffs. They weren't the greatest team in the playoffs, and it was kind of David versus Goliath there, and Goliath won that battle. And then you look at their last playoff game against the 49ers. The 49ers, they were a good team, but Brock Purdy was hurt. They played their backup, their fourth
Josh Johnson.
I mean, they're playing
NFC Championship game.
They were playing. Who knows? They were almost gonna play Christian McCaffrey. I'm
gonna be honest with you, right? Christian McCaffrey was playing quarterback.
I know.
They ran the ball every play. They started to come out of the Wildcat. I mean, if the Eagles lost that game, it would have been pretty bad. But now, when you reflect on it too, like if the 49ers would have won that game, the chances of them winning the Super Bowl would have been really low because, now we know what we know about Brock Purdy and his injury. So that was just a game for the Eagles to win. And the Eagles are an extremely stacked team, right? I mean, you're talking about, you look at every position, and it's like they have a stud there. I mean, they have 3 tremendous cornerbacks on that team. They have a great secondary and a defensive line that has had the 3rd most sacks all time in the regular season. But I look at this team and I look at everything that they've got, and in the end, for me, it just comes down to the way they play in the trenches, right? I mean, you have arguably the best offensive line in the NFL. Jalen Hurts does not get touched in a game. You don't see a speck of dirt on this guy. And the amount of space, I mean, you've seen the pictures, you've seen the memes. It's just he has a whole room almost to throw the ball. And then on the defensive side, I mentioned it just now. I mean, they have an historic amount of sacks this season. And it's with an offensive line that great and a defensive line that great, it's extremely hard to lose a game when you dominate both sides of the ball in that way. So that's why I just think the Eagles should be favored in this game. They have too good of a team to lose this game to the Chiefs, but obviously they have Patrick Mahomes on the other side. And anytime you have Patrick Mahomes on the other side, you're probably going to be the underdog in that game.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to bet against Mahomes. He's such a talented guy. I mean, he knows how to win. And that's part of the reason why I'm picking this Chiefs team to win the Super Bowl over the Eagles. I saw what they did against Cincinnati, who's a stacked team. That they went up against a powerhouse Cincinnati team, and they fought. They fought that whole game. And, the world was against them. A lot of people were rooting for the Bengals.
I was rooting for the Bengals.
I was rooting for the Bengals myself, too. I mean, how could you root against Joe Burrow?
No. And you know what? I picked the Bengals to go to the Super Bowl last year. People don't want to give me credit for that. It wasn't on record, but I swear to you, I did pick the Bengals to go to the Super Bowl that year. And people call me nuts. They're like, they can't beat Mahomes. And then they beat Mahomes. And then now, all the storylines about, man, if Burrow's 4-0 against Mahomes. Mahomes was going to get his revenge the whole time. And I think we just underestimated Mahomes a little bit in that game. And Mahomes, by the way, did everything that he's done in this playoffs, except maybe the first quarter of the Jaguars game, on a bum ankle. Or, I think that's his injury, right? So he's doing all this injured, but that does worry me for the Super Bowl a little bit because look what happened last time he went in with a slight injury and played in the Super Bowl against a great defensive line. But the whole Chiefs team was banged up, but that worries me. I as well am going to be picking the Chiefs in this game, and the Chiefs deserve a lot of credit, right? You don't just lose Tyreek Hill and then get back to the Super Bowl. This is a team that over the winter lost Tyreek Hill to the Dolphins, and Patrick Mahomes is, as much as Travis Kelce was his number one weapon, Tyreek Hill was the Chiefs. He made that offense as versatile as anything, and he was just wide open, and you look at this guy, and you're like, how is he this open? And the next thing you know, he's sprinting right into the end zone, right? But they've done a nice job, Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Kadarius Toney, when he's healthy. They've done a great job at replacing what they've lost in Tyreek Hill, and to get back to the Super Bowl
without one of your best players, basically,
is a great feat. And really, the Eagles are just on paper such a better team when you really look at it. This is also a team I didn't even mention it, and I don't think a lot of people are mentioning it. This is a team that lost Tyrann Mathieu in the offseason too. They lost Tyreek Hill and Tyrann Mathieu, and now they're back. And I really think that Mahomes is going to get his second ring, just because he's Patrick Mahomes, and I think Patrick Mahomes is going to shine in this game. But once again, like, the Eagles are, in my opinion, the clear-cut favorites. Like, the way I like to say it is, my heart says Chiefs, my head says Eagles. The Giants fan in me absolutely does not want the Eagles to win this game. But if they win this game by 10-plus points, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, all right, 100% with the head. The smarter bet is the Eagles, but I just feel like that I got that gut feeling Mahomes is going to take it all.
And the other thing that is interesting about this game for me, right, is and I said it before, like, the Eagles have not beat a legit team. Like, a legit team. I mean, they've beaten the Cowboys, but that was the Cowboys without Dak Prescott, and then they didn't really get a real game against the Cowboys.
For sure.
But if they win this game, we underrated them the entire year.
100%.
Because if they play real teams this year, and they win those games, we're saying a lot of different things about this Eagles team. And then the fate of this Eagles team and what you remember about this Eagles team completely rests on the Super Bowl. They were either a team that had an easy schedule and blew through it, or a team that had, or a team that just was really good the whole year, and because of their schedule, we underrated them. And if the Chiefs, and the key to them winning all these blowout games has been getting out quick, and they've gotten out quick to all these games. You saw it against the Giants, and against the 49ers, it was a little shaky, but they still got out to a hot start. If the Chiefs let the Eagles get out hot, if the Chiefs get like 2 first downs and punt to start the game, and the Eagles go down and score a touchdown, you're already in danger.
Yes.
Because look what happened in the Giants game. I feel like the game started and the Giants were already losing. And that's like, I feel like every game I watch with the Eagles, like, the game starts and the Eagles are winning.
Yeah.
But if the Chiefs can limit the damage early, slow the pace of the game, the adrenaline's going to be going. It's the Super Bowl. Everyone's going to be excited. And especially the Eagles, because they're excited at the start of every game. But if the Chiefs can slow this game down, control the clock, make their drives longer, don't have these quick, 5-6 play drives, the next thing you know, the Eagles have the ball and they're driving downfield, they can win this game.
All right, sounds good. All right, we're going to wrap the show up here. I'm Eric Rodrigues.
I'm Nick Foster.
We'll see you later.